Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Generation Millennium. I'm your visually impaired host, Jeffra Madness, and we are going to play this little Pokemon game here. And I know this is like a month late, but I've been busy playing on other save files here. But unfortunately, my vision has begun to really fall south. And by fall south, I mean the fact that my vision has gotten so bad that I don't think I can be able to record full playthroughs anymore. Or rather, try to record full playthroughs. Because if I wanted to record full playthroughs, I need my DaVinci CCTV monitor to do so, which is how I've already completed this game, not to mention everything else. Because like the last thing I uploaded was my Pokemon Legend ZA recording of me taking on and actually defeating Zygarde, but unfortunately, as I just said, I no longer can do flight playthroughs. So at this point, I'm gonna be mostly just doing recordings of me just taking on like major gym battles and whatnot. So it'll be like rather than doing like just like full playthrough, just gonna be just like I guess you could say like episodic, just me going through like the major milestone videos and whatnot. But as you can see on this particular save file, I decided to play the game with Charmander as my starter. I think you can probably see I think it's already evolved to Charmeleon. And I should probably warn ahead of time now that because of my low vision and stuff, there's going to be a lot of zooming in and out on screen. Like, oh, there we go. Yeah, zoom like that. And if I'm looking at this correctly, let's see, I think Ember should be the first slot there. And I think that says Scratch. And I think Metal Claw should be the third move there. And last but not least, I don't even know what that last move is. Like, was it mostly Growl or something? Yeah, this is pretty much a pretty good example of how south my vision's gotten if I need to zoom in on the screen, but it's like pretty much a constant thing now. Like, but if I can somehow get the DaVinci light linked up to my computer, I can actually record by showing it on my CCTV monitor rather than relying solely on my computer screen, which is on my current setup. Which if I could actually record doing that, then I could do full recording playthroughs of like pretty much all the Pokemon games, like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, because I don't think I've done a full playthrough of that, but after many, many years, I can actually do a full playthrough of that entire game now without any outside assistance. Heck, I can even do Legends Arceus full playthrough, just without taking on Arceus himself, because that's a boss battle for the ages. Like, I can take on Zygarde, no problem, but Arceus, no. So I guess you make that a common question of the day. If any of you out there had to connect a CCTV monitor to record on a all-in-one computer monitor, then by all means, please help me do research on it. You can like make a comment, maybe link to an article, or copy and paste instructions in the comment sections, whatever might help. But in this particular playthrough, I'm just going to be a twofold series because, fun fact, with the Switch version of Fire Red and Leaf Green here, a grand total of 215 Pokemon are available in these games, which is 150 for the Kanto decks, not including Mew because Mew is unfortunately an event exclusive for Pokemon Emerald. No idea if Game Freak's actually going to release the Hoenn titles here, but it'd be awesome if they did. And god dang, a text message. Hopefully that didn't get picked up by my microphone, but if it did, I apologize for the small interruption there. But as I said, I was trying to say, this is going to be a twofold series in which it's going to be me doing boss battles, but at the same time, it's going to be a bit of a pseudo Professor Oak challenge. I'm going to try to catch as many Pokemon as I can before this gym badge, but unlike normal Professor Oak challenge, I'm not going to try to evolve all these guys because I am not going to try to spend like 30 hours trying to evolve everything. That's just going to take far too long. So just going to be a pseudo challenge where I'm just going to catch as many monsters as I possibly can. Which, the Safari Zone is going to be a huge pain, but I'll eventually get to there. But in terms of evolving other stuff, as you can probably tell by now, I took the time to level up level up these guys up to level 10 because I just want to at least showcase the slowness of how these games can work. And if you wonder why I took the effort to evolve Butterfree and Beedrill, well, it's because Butterfree on the save file is going to essentially be my main catcher. That's I think I learned sleep paddle off 14 though. I don't think it's quite there yet. It's like hard for me to keep track. But you can definitely tell I definitely have taken my sweet time on this save file because I think that says I'm last when I recorded this, I think it was up to like 3 hours or something. Where does it say? Yeah, this is definitely because why I need my CCTV monitor because it helps me to invert the colors for the most part, and trying to read this old text from like 20 years ago on a like black text on a white background on 20-year-old text font, yeah, not exactly good for the eyes. So, but anyways, enough of that. Let's finally take on Brock here, why don't we? Although I really have to say though, like for playing these old style Pokemon games, it's really a lot of fun. Although going back to the old system is definitely challenging. And let me zoom in again. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm clicking the right move. Is that Metal Claw there? Yeah, pretty sure it's Metal Claw. And I speed you do good. And I leave animations on because I need animations to actually be able to tell what's going on here in the battle. And I didn't think I'd take it G2 there, so one more Metal Claw. Ah, sure, I think I missed. But the old style of how these moves work is like, essentially everyone knows how the game works nowadays, with physical and special moves and all that stuff. But you probably heard of the physical special split. However, that was a term used in Generation 4 onward, because here in Generation 3 games and earlier, whether attack was physical or special was completely dependent on the typing of the move. So Charmeleon's Metal Claw here is clearly a physical attack, and shoot, he rocked Tomb. Am I alive? Yes, I am, but he didn't. But my speed went down. That should be okay. I should survive that. And one more Metal Claw. Please take him out. Shoot. And good, I survived. That should hopefully be a KO. Nope. Oh, phew, I thought I died there. And there we go, defeat. But anyways, I was trying to say, like, the physical special split, it's actually the easiest way to remember it. You probably heard this 1,000 times from so many other videos, but it does require some repeating. So whether attack is physical or special is dependent on the typing of the move. And the easy way to remember is to look at all the Eevee's evolutionary typings. So for Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Glaceon, Leafeon, all their typings are special, and plus Dragon. And then everything else that I didn't mention is normal type. Like normal type, flying type, ghost, poison, steel, rock, ground, bug. Maybe I missed a couple types here and there, but either way, those are all the physical moves. Which is why Gengars and Gyarados are kind of useless in these games, but then if you look at some other Pokemon, like say Dodrio, his fast speed and physical attack stat combined with both physical and flying or physical moves in this game. Yeah, that's why those kinds of Pokemon can be very deadly, which unfortunately some Pokemon like Venusaur, for example, is not as useful because his grass typing is special, but his poison typing is physical, and while his physical attack is okay, it's not great. Which is also the reason why if you do playthroughs in this game, you're going to have to be very careful about what your Pokemon's natures are, because it will determine how much damage your Pokemon will do. Which for other Pokemon, let's say Starmie, for example, is very good because Water and Psychic are both special moves. Whereas Gengar is completely screwed because while he's a very strong special attacker with like I think it's like base 130 special attack stat. But because of his typing as being Bug Poison, not Bug Poison, Ghost Poison, both of those are physical moves. And his physical attack stat is horrendously low, and which makes him a bad Pokemon to use in Gens 1 through 3. And as you just saw there, I just got the running shoes, which is nice. You can now run, and actually I just ran to a trainer. Screw my bad vision. But yeah, now we're moving on to Route 3 because while I did defeat a trainer, I want to keep talking for a bit because this is gonna. I guess this can be a pseudo of me doing a recording episode as well as, I guess, ranting slash podcast kind of thing. Because a lot of things have happened with Pokemon as of late. Like Pokemon Champions is coming out in maybe another week and a half or so, and that's going to be a fun experience. If I can get the recordings of that, I'll definitely love to do recordings of that at some point. But yeah, as for other topics, I've done a lot of playthroughs of Fire and Leaf Green. Like I've gone through both games at least 3 times each by now. And if you're wondering why I've replayed these games so many times, the answer is unfortunately because of how the Pokedex work, most specifically the legendary Beast of Johto, because you only get 1 per save file and it's based on the starter you get, and it's pretty much on the opposite typing, like the rival battle. Your rival chooses the starter that's strong against your starter. So for example here, since I chose Charmander as my starter, I'll encounter Suicune in the post game, whereas Bulbasaur starters get Entei and Squirtle starters get Raikou. And there's only 1 per save file. And fortunately, from what people have tested, apparently the roar glitch that was in the original GBA releases has been patched, so you no longer have to worry about the Pokemon disappearing if they ever use roar on you. Although honestly, I think most people just chuck their Master Balls at those guys and just get it over with. Because honestly, that's all you really need to use Master Ball on, because yeah, here's a bit of advice. If you want to catch the other legendary Pokemon, just raise up a Blissey, like EV Train it in HP and Special Defense, and you're pretty much good to go. Give it a leftovers item. And then teach it to move Seismic Toss, Thunder Wave, which are both move turtle moves. Seismic Toss is a move turtle move from the Pewter City Museum. In the same room that you get the old Amber item from. And the Seismic Toss, not like that. Thunder Wave is a hit. Excuse my mouth. My tongue is tied. Thunder Wave is a move turtle move from the Sylph Company. I think an NPC in the lower left corner of the second floor can teach it to you. And the other 2 moves you can teach are like Minimize and Soft Boiled, so you can dodge attacks and recover, although unfortunately a lot of the other legendaries in this game, they say that they are unkind. It would be a bit of an understatement. I mean, the 3 major ones are Ho-Oh, Lugia, and Mewtwo. They all have Swift, and since Swift is a move that never misses, and it's a normal type move, and it's a physical attack, which hits Blissey's very frail physical defense stats. So, yeah, having Blissey at that very high level to take advantage of Seismic Toss is definitely recommended. Although, in terms of catching legendaries, you might want to go after Deoxys first, because it's level 30 rather than Ho-Oh, Lugia, and Mewtwo's level 70. So, heads up on that front. What the? You survived Ember? Goodbye, Nidoran. And speaking of physical special splits I was talking about earlier, I should probably mention that for some moves that are treated as special moves, you still have to be very careful, because even though they're special, they still technically make contact, which is very stupid. It's like double standards. It's quite the headache to keep track of, which is probably why Game Freak eventually changed in Gen 4 on, because they realized just how much of a headache it was. So like, for example, for like moves like Bite, which is a dark type move, but because dark typing is treated as special, but because it's clearly a move that makes contact with the opponent, it still triggers other abilities like Flame Body, Static, and Poison Point. So you have to be very careful about those moves. Even though they're treated as special moves, they still technically make contact. And other moves like that would also include moves like Crunch, Waterfall, Dragon Claw. Pretty much any move that's treated as special but clearly makes physical contact with a Pokemon. Just have to be very careful about those moves. In addition to other moves like, say, Charmander's Metal Claw here, it's clearly a physical attack because it's steel typing. But it's also clearly making contact with Pokemon. But then a move, let's say like Earthquake, for example, it's a physical move, but it's clearly not making contact with the Pokemon, so it does not trigger abilities like Static, Poison Points, and whatnot. So yeah, there's just a lot of nuances here in Gen 3 you have to just be very careful about. And, I mean, you are jumping from Generation 3 mechanics all the way down. Well, speaking of jumping down, I didn't mean to jump down here, because now I have to deal with this trainer. That's unavoidable. My mistake. That's just the traps of when you're visually impaired. You unfortunately make mistakes, even in these older games. Like, seriously, anyone who's played these older games, please, I'm pretty sure certain everyone has made the mistake at one point or another of accidentally jumping over a ledge when they didn't mean to. And I guess I can't really make... And, oh no, Fury Attack. Phew, only 2 times. But anyways, yeah, pretty sure everyone in the child has made the mistake of accidentally jumping down a ledge when they didn't mean to. But I'm playing on a GameCube controller with a D-pad, which might be a little wonky. I think my inputs are not being 100% felt. Like I think there's like a slight delay when I make the button inputs, which for a game like this isn't that big of a deal. But if I were to try to use this controller on like Legends ZA, like right there, I meant to go down only 1 step. I think I went down 2. Ugh. Like, I am not Twitch Plays Pokemon. I am not fighting the ledge. Let me move. Do not go down. Am I all the way across? I'm trying to get... Oh, I think wait, am I going the right way? I know I went the wrong way. Okay, screw the D-pad. I think I'll just use the actual analog controller. Although, a strange thing I only noticed a while ago, like, if you actually listen to the music that, like, on the routes and places, you can actually hear the wild Pokemon that spawns in the air. You can actually hear their cries, which is actually a pretty nice touch. But in terms of other news on this game, I mean, I don't want to make too many spoilers for what I'm going to be doing in this game, besides the fact that, yes, I am going to, like I said, I'm going to try to catch everything, including all the rare mons, like eventually here on Route 3. Depending on your version, you can get one of the different Nidorans. That's, like, since I'm on LeafGreen playing here, I have a high chance of getting Nidoran female, with the male Nidoran appearing at a 1% rate, and it's the opposite way around in Fire Red. Which, in my luck on getting that 1% has been a bit unusual, to say the least. Like, the last time I tried, so I pretty much gave up after an hour trying to get that 1% encounter. Whereas the first time I did, I think I got that 1% encounter in maybe like 10 minutes. So, yeah, RNG is definitely not my favorite. Wait, did you just use Disable on me? How rude! Well, you're not a fairy type anymore, so, but I'll still use this on you. Oh yeah, another huge change to get adjusted to a lot of Pokemon's typings, because fairy typing was added in Generation 6, which means a lot of Pokemon that were useful in the modern era can essentially be considered not so reliable anymore. And what is this you're trying to learn? Smokescreen? Denied. Although in these early Pokemon games, having status moves can become very helpful, but only for certain Pokemon, like Butterfree, definitely has status Pokemon there. But for your starters, these Pokemon are gonna be like full-on attackers and whatnot. So having them essentially attacking is all they really need to do, and there's no need for like other stuff like Smokescreen Lure accuracy. You can teach Butterfree Flash via HM later on. So you don't really need Smokescreen there. And Butterfree is actually a very useful Pokemon because, again, with the status moves, it can definitely help catch Pokemon. Which is where Bulbasaur really comes in handy. And I'm going to pull one of the biggest sins in gaming history, because a lot of people skip this, but I am going to do this! Hello, free Magikarp! I know I'm not going to give it a nickname. But yeah, that's pretty much this biggest part of the game. I'm not going to really showcase me going to Mount Moon. Oop, I didn't mean to click out there. I want to just go to the Pokedex. Although I heard a very strange thing on YouTube. I have no idea if it's true, but apparently when developers were making this game back in, what was it, like 2004? Apparently they were trying to make this for a female demographic or something, which is a bit of an odd thing to state in my opinion. I'm not sure if it's anywhere near true from all those old interviews and stuff, but if it is, then, well, I mean, I'm not a girl, so I can't tell. But the engine, the user interface is definitely different from past games. Like Fire and LeafGreen user interface is much different from the Hoenn games, that's for certain. Not to mention it's more pleasing to the eyes. But beyond that, I mean, I am gonna be doing these recordings here and there. It's definitely gonna be fun to just finally record this stuff and whatnot. And like I said, it's gonna be a bit of a, I guess you can say, podcast slash recording episode of me just kind of just updating and whatnot. So next time when I do come back, I should be at a Cerulean City gym with a bunch more Pokemon. Like I've gone through Mount Moon. I'll most likely gone through Route 24, 25, which means I'll take care of that rival battle, going through Bill's Cottage and whatnot, because no one wants to see recording of Trainer Gauntlet like the way I just did. Like going through a route is much different than dealing with a Trainer Gauntlet on Nugget Bridge, because that's just annoying. But while I guess I'm ranting, I'll just guess I'll just go through this stuff. Oh yeah, a little fun fact here is that when you actually get to, if you do this and you like skip the SSN, you get cut like by trading to another save file. They actually left this in the game, the infamous truck from the Gen 1 titles. But if you go all the way down here, you can find a hidden item as a little, I guess, a congratulations for you going to the little secret area when you're not supposed to, which allows you to get the love cookie item, which is the item you actually can't get until you're in the post game. But yeah, here's the little infamous truck scene. Although, eventually you do have to get the cut HM from the captain and then let the SSN leave, because you eventually have to use the same port to use the ship to get to the Sevii Islands in the post game. Or if you ever want to return to the Sevii Islands before post game, like if you want to return to 1, 2, 3 Island after you finish Bill's request, after you get the Cinnabar Island badge, you unfortunately need to get the SSN to leave port, which means you actually have to get the cut HM from the captain. So the developers pretty much made it required that you have to actually get HM eventually, because in the original games you can actually go through the whole game and never get the SSN to leave. You just get cut elsewhere from like another save file and then just leave the SSN there indefinitely for whatever reason that might be. But here, unfortunately, you must force this ship to leave. It's unfortunate, but meh. I mean, the only reward you get from doing this is just getting the lava cookie item, which is not that huge of a reward. But hey, if you want to do it, get a free lava cookie ahead of its schedule, then by all means. And I guess while this is recording here, I'm just going through a bunch of clips here while I'm just mumbling away. But yeah, essentially one of the major things about completing the Pokedex in this game is that there are 4 not trade evolution, but trades that you need to get for Pokemon, because they don't appear anywhere else in the game. Like in Cerulean City here, you need to trade a Poliwhirl to get a Jinx. In Vermilion City, you can trade a Spearow for a Farfetch'd. And then on Route 2, you can trade for Mr. Mime by giving him an Abra. And then in the Gatehouse to the west of Fuchsia City that connects to Cycling Road on Route 18, you can trade a version exclusive Pokemon. In Fire Red, it's Golduck, and Leaf Green, it's Slowbro. You trade that for Lickitung, which, in my opinion, that's like the worst trade in the game, because Lickitung in Gens 1 through 3 is a terrible Pokemon. Like, there's a reason why they give an evolution in Gen 4 in the form of Licky, because Lickitung is just, its stats are horrendous, to put it bluntly. Like, Jigglypuff, Jinx, and Farfetch'd and Mr. Mime, those 3 can hold their own. Like, Farfetch'd doesn't have the best stats in the world, but the fact that the Farfetch'd always comes with the adamant nature, and the fact you can learn Cut and Fly, it can function as your pseudo HM slave in this game, which is a bit sad to say, but at the same time, it actually does get some nice moves like Swords Dance. It boosts its attack stats. It can learn Knockoff for the male glitch if you ever want to use that. Mr. Mime learns Recycle for the male glitch if you want to use that as well. Because the other Pokemon that can learn them, like, I don't think anyone wants to spend all that money to get a Porygon, because that's the other one that can learn Recycle. As for Knockoff, I don't know any other Gen 1 monsters that learn Knockoff in this game. But in terms of glitches, it's actually very interesting that they actually allowed the male glitch to remain. Like, they patched the Roar glitch with the Johto Beast, which is surprising that they patched that, but they didn't patch the male glitch. Maybe it just, they didn't care enough about that. Which also means you can use the Ace glitches to, like, essentially get, like, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Like, you can turn your Pokemon shiny, you can get shiny Pokemon. You can, I think, max out their IVs and whatnot. It's a whole bunch of insanity that you can use that glitch for. And as far as I'm aware, even if you get all those crazy glitch Pokemon, you can still eventually transfer them to home, I think, because by all counts, as long as you catch them in game, your trader has legitimately obtained Pokemon, like not illegally hacked, because you obtained them in your game, like they weren't generated by an outside source or something or other. So as long as you caught them in the game and you've changed the data in the game, then I guess Pokemon Home just doesn't classify as a hacked mon. I'm no expert on legitimacy, but I guess we'll find out Pokemon Champions comes out, because I guess some people will try to transfer in some of their, at least some Pokemon will try to transfer some hacked Pokemon or generated Pokemon into the home from the mainline games and whatnot, and then they'll try to set them into Pokemon Champions, although I would be surprised if one of the reasons why Champions took so long to release, because because from my understanding, that game is not going to have much in the way of content. Like, it's just going to be just a battle simulator. Like, it's being used for just like future VGC events. Like, as far as I'm aware, like the 2026 Video Game World Championship is going to be taking place on Pokemon Champions from here on out, and all other VGC related things will be taking place specifically on Pokemon Champions, which is cool and all, but at the same time, like, from what we heard, there's not going to be like a one-player story mode or one-player like system where you can just battle a bunch of in-game NPCs to like test out your teams. The game is going to essentially force you to use the multiplayer feature, which unfortunately means you need to battle against other people online, which means you not only need to get the in-game battle pass, which we're not sure that's going to cost any real life money to get said battle pass, although I know for a fact the premium battle pass is definitely going to cost in real life currency, which sucks, but they got to get that money somehow. Like, that's unfortunately how businesses work nowadays. They just going to try to get that money, because Pokemon Champions is free to play at first, but then eventually if you want to battle online, you're also going to need Nintendo Switch Online subscription plus the premium battle pass if you want better reward items from this battle seasons, which again sucks they have to do all this, but it's the modern world. Like I still remember back in the old days on like the Nintendo 3DS when Nintendo Online service was free. Like, only thing you need to connect online was just your internet accessibility at your home router and whatnot. Now, not so much. Although still, though, it's just nice that Game Freak just allowed these like in-game events that were originally eventually you have to go in person and get the items, but now as long as you just go to the events, the events are now just in the game itself. Like, you don't actually have to like go in person to somewhere or hop online. I was wondering if they were like mystery gift items, but apparently just taking a page out of Pokemon Crystal on Virtual Console on the 3DS, and the items are going to be there. Once you reach a certain benchmark in Crystal, you just had to become champion, head to the Goldenrod City Pokemon Center, and then you would trigger the event that would eventually give you the GS Ball, and then that would lead you to Celebi, the Ilex Forest. Here, the items are dropped immediately in your inventory as soon as you become champion and reload at Pallet Town. But you also need to obtain the National Pokedex, and I think you need to at least have completed the event on 4 islands, which means you need to go to Icefall Cave, head to the back room where Lorelei and the Team Rocket Grunts are, and as soon as you defeat the Team Rocket Grunt and you complete the dialogue with Lorelei, you can then return to mainland Kanto Vermilion City, and then you should have access to both Birth Island, where Deoxys and Naval Rock, where Ho and Lugia are. And crazy thing is, I think in the original games, don't quote me on this, but I think in those original games, even if you had access to the Mystic Ticket, which is how you get access to Naval Rock, you could only choose one of the legendaries to battle and capture. Because if you battle and caught one of them, and you try to go back to the other area, like the main area, like if you see a ladder going upward, that leads to Ho-Oh. If you see a ladder going down, that led to Lugia. So let's say you went up, and then you caught Ho-Oh. Then you went back to the main room, and after you did that, you would see that the ladder that was supposed to lead down to Lugia would then be blocked off by a rock or something, or some kind of big boulder. And no, not be a kind of boulder you can just push aside using strength. At least I think that's how it worked in the original GBA titles. Don't quote me on that. I could have sworn I heard something about that, but if that's not how the event worked, then, well, good on developers for removing that block, because you can catch both in these games. Or rather, on a single save file. And as I just said earlier, in Fire and Leaf Green, you can capture a grand total of 215 Pokemon for the in-game total national dex. 150 being the Kanto Pokemon, 62 of which are Johto Pokemon, which does include the Johto Beasts and the Tower Duo Legendaries. And the remaining 3 Pokemon are Hoenn Pokemon, which is surprising. 2 of them are only attained via breeding, and the last one is Deoxys on Birth Island. Which I should also mention that Deoxys' form, you battle him and he's in his standard normal form, but then after you catch him, he then automatically changes his form depending on what version you caught it in. Which here in Leaf Green, will always be in his defense form. And then if you were to catch him in Fire Red, he's always going to be in his attack form. If you transfer it over to Ruby and Sapphire, it would be in its standard normal form, and then traded to Pokemon Emerald, it would be in its speed form. And unfortunately, you cannot change the form. It's always stuck that way in whatever game it's in. Which is a shame, which is why starting in Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl, they altered the event. Well, not the event specifically, but rather that's why they put the meteorites in Veilstone City, which allowed you to change Deoxys' form, and from that point onward, they would have like meteorites placed somewhere in the game that would help you change Deoxys' form. Until Scar and Violet, I believe, which is when they added the meteorite key item, which just allows you to just change its form at will. Kind of like how they eventually created the Rotom catalog, so you can change Rotom's form at will, so you no longer have to like go to a specific location and then find a bunch of different electronic devices where Rotom then changes form, because that's how it originally worked. Game Freak Dimensions got tired of having to keep programming, creating these different special locations to help Pokemon evolve. They just decided to just cut to the chase and just give you items or to make evolution much easier on yourself. Like, for example, like Pokemon that needs like an electric area to evolve, like Nosepass or Probopass, Magneton to Magnezone, Charger Bug to Vikavolt. They just decided to say, screw this, and let's just make them evolve via Thunderstone. Same one for like Glaceon needing the Icy Rock to evolve from Eevee, just made it evolve with Ice Stone. And then the Mossy Rock for Eevee off to Leafeon, just evolve via Leaf Stone. And whew, been a long since I talked like that. I definitely do need to hydrate. Sorry if my voice sounds a little hoarse now, but it's probably a good sign of how I end this episode and my ranting, but it's just been so long. I just really wanted to just ramble on and on about my thoughts and feelings about a lot of stuff. I'm really looking forward to Pokemon Champions, as detrimental is the fact that it's not going to be like Battle Revolution. You can essentially practice with your teams in different formats. It's still going to be a fun time just battling, because according to what I've heard, the graphics in that game are going to be they look pretty impressive. I mean, they should be, since it's a game that's going to be solely focused on Pokemon battling, which means there's no other stuff they need to worry about, which means animation should definitely be easy to program in. But beyond that, I guess there really is nothing else to really say at this point for the 30th anniversary for Pokemon. I mean, I am looking forward to Ruby and Sapphire Emerald's ports if they ever do come out, because I don't know about anyone else who's played, but having a national dex total stuck at 215 is very aggravating. Like, if the other titles do get released, like Ruby and Sapphire will definitely help complete the Hoenn Pokedex section. There's 134 Pokemon if you include Deoxys, which unfortunately means Jirachi is unavailable. Also, unfortunately, Celebi's not going to be available. Those two are exclusive to the Pokemon Coliseum bonus disc. Like, Celebi was a Japanese Coliseum bonus disc exclusive, and then the international copy, the one I gave to North America and Europe, Coliseum bonus discs give us Jirachi. And those are the only ways you can get those two mythical legendaries in Generation 3. So unless they decide to do some in-game mystery gift distribution to get those legendaries, we're not going to get them in the Gen 3 ports, which means you cannot complete said Gen 3 National Dex, at least if you want to be a total completionist. But unfortunately, you don't need all the mythicals to complete the National Dexes, which means you can actually not have Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, and Deoxys. You need the remaining 382 Pokemon to complete the National Dex, but still, just having all the other Pokemon, it just feels better for the completionists out there like myself. Like, I've always loved playing Pokemon games just to complete them, and one of the crazier speedruns for playing for Twilight Screen was also a bit of a Pokedex completionist kind of thing, because in order to get to National Dex, you need to have caught, not seen, caught at least 60 Pokemon, which is almost half of the Kanto. Wait, did I just put it? Yeah, extra syllable there. Like the Kanto Regional Dex only has 150 Pokemon, and you need to catch 60 of them, which is almost half of that number, in order to have Perfect Stroke give you the National Dex in the post game. Because once you reload the Pallet Town, the cutscene automatically plays, which he takes you back to the laboratory, your rival comes in, a bunch of stuff Professor X talks about, and he eventually gives you the National Dex and congratulates you on working so hard. Sorry, my tongue got tied there. Working so hard on completing said National Dex. And completing all that stuff actually isn't all that hard. I'll probably elaborate further on the Pokedex in a later video. I think I ranted long enough. My throat is definitely a bit sore here, so I guess I'll leave off. But just been nice seeing you guys and just being able to do another recording again. I hope to do another recording soon, which really just depends on how fast and quickly I can get to the rest of this little recording slash little playthrough of mine. And oh, before I do go off, here's recording to the Legendary Beasts. Actually, I think I have been doing it recording to Legendary Beasts, and you can see on each of these particular save files. Yeah, first thing I do is chuck Master Balls at these guys, because that's the main reason I was going through these save files in the first place. I was just going through the motions and just catching all these guys. So I guess I'll just sit here and just let these recordings play. First we see Suicune, then we have Entei. And you can definitely tell which ones are which because of the starters I have up front. In case you're wondering as to how I beat the Elite Four with such low-level starters here, the answer is quite simple: Starmie. Starmie with Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. It just wipes the Elite Four easily, especially if you use X items, or if you just train Starmie to be a very high level. Like if you train Starmie to be at least level 65 to 70, you should be able to defeat the Elite Four very easily. Like the only one you should struggle with is Lorelei, because Lorelai's water and ice type Pokemon are actually pretty bulky, especially with how the special attack and special defense stats work in Gen 3. But all other Pokemon that you face, you should be one-shotting pretty much everything else. Like Bruno's water, Bruno's fighting types and Onixes should go down easily to Starmie's attacks. All Agatha's Pokemon should go down easily to Psychic attacks. Lance used Thunderbolt on Dragonite and Aerodactyl, and then Ice Beam on everything else. Then your rival, only thing that should really give you trouble with the rival is Alakazam, I think. Maybe Exeggutor can be a bit bulky, but beyond those guys, yeah. It's just very easy. Like my most recent playthrough of Fire and LeafGreen, just sweeping through as quickly as I possibly could. Let's see. I think it was this one. Here we go here. Although in this particular save file, I went a bit overboard. Like I think you saw that Starmie, his level was very high. Like I did a bunch of extra training with him. But you can see how unbalanced these Pokemon's levels are. But this should be a pretty big indicator of just how quick I can like speed run the way through this game, while additionally trying to catch at least 60 Pokemon for the National Dex before the post game. Like I think that save time there, I can't really read it. I think it's like 6 hours something, but yeah, like if I were to just focus solely on just speed running through the game, that time would probably be almost cut in half, maybe by a third, maybe around 3 to 4 hours instead. But since I had to also focus on catching Pokemon, which also includes the Safari Zone FYI, because you can catch a ton of Pokemon there to help add to that 60 number total. And FYI, that also does not include evolving Pokemon. Like, if I do evolve any Pokemon I catch, it's probably going to be Caterpie and Weedle, because they evolve up to level 10, so the evolutions are easy. But for everything else, you can catch other Pokemon easily in the wild, like You'll need to evolve Rattata. You can catch Raticate on Route 17. Spearow doesn't evolve. You can catch Fearow on Route 17. The Nidorans don't need to be evolved. You can catch your evolutions in Safari Zone. Ekans doesn't need to evolve. Arbok can be as well as Sandshrew, and depending on what version you're playing. Their evolutions can be caught in Victory Road. Same goes for Mank. You can catch Primeape in Victory Road. Cubon's evolution, Marowak can be found in Victory Road. Haunter can be found in the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town, just like Ghastly. So yeah, as long as you know where Pokemon are and their evolutions can be found, you can just catch Pokemon solely and don't need to really evolve anything, and you can get to that 60 number very, very easily. I mean, heck, you can, if you want to go the extra mile, you can even just catch Pokemon from Safaris and evolve those guys, like Execute, then just slap a Leaf Stone on them, boom. That's 2 entries in the Pokedex right then and there. And things are slightly easier in LeafGreen, I think, because if you go to Pallet Town and fish, you can actually fish up both Krabby and Kingler, which unfortunately, well, you still can't fish up Krabby in Fire Rod, but you need a good rod instead of a super rod, but you can only catch Krabby, no Kingler. For some reason, you can only, his evolution is only in LeafGreen, which is odd. Although LeafGreen skews things up more because, unfortunately, Magmar, they moved from Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island all the way to Mount Ember on one island, so that's a lot later in the game. Whereas Electabuzz, thankfully, is still in the power plant, which you only need to use 5 badges to get there. And my voice is starting to die out again, so I think I really should just end this now. But thanks to you guys so much for watching this far. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, hype the video, and please answer that comment question from earlier if you still remember what that comment question was. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. See ya!